Hi everyone and welcome back to my channel. Today I am going to do a little bit of watercoloring with distress markers. So I'm starting by heat embossing this image, and I have my little powder tool there, and I'm keeping it in this container right now because otherwise I get little powder all over my desk, so this little container is perfect for that. And I'm going to stamp this image with some Versamark ink, and I cut down this piece of watercolor cardstock to size, and then I'll go ahead and stamp the image right down on the left hand side. And then I'm also going to heat emboss the sentiment at the same time, so I'm using the one that says Merry and Bright. And this stamp set is from the Alleyway Stamps. And then I'm going to heat emboss these with the Gold Zing embossing powder. So I'll just go ahead and apply that onto my images. I'll tap off the excess, and then I'm going to melt that with my heat tool until it's completely melted and smooth. So then I can go ahead and start watercoloring these in. I'm just applying a little bit of the color to my nonstick craft sheet and then picking it up with my water brush. This color that I'm using is the Festive Berries. The next color I'm going to be using is the yellow. This is the Mustard Seed. And I colored in the bird with the yellow, so the front and the back. And then the middle part is going to be kind of like an ugly sweater, so I'm using all different colors for that part. I used a little bit of the Spiced Marmalade for the beak. And then this color is the Chip Sapphire. I'm just going to color in part of the sweater. And I'm not doing any shading or anything with this, I'm just coloring it in with these markers. But once it's dry, they are really vibrant, so you get a different look with these markers than you would with other markers. This color is the Worn Lipstick. And I like using the distress markers for this because you can put a little bit of color on your craft mat, unlike if you were doing this with an ink pad. This color that I used was the Fired Brick. And then the next color is the Peacock Feathers. But you could definitely use your ink pads for this as well. The minis would work a lot better than the full pads because otherwise you're going to get a lot of ink on your craft mat. I'm using the Ripe Persimmon. And then the next color is the Dusty Concord. Thought there needed to be a little bit of purple in there. Alright, so one more color left. I'm using the Mowed Lawn. Needed a little bit of bright green. And then for the boots, I'm using the Gathered Twigs, which is a dark brown color. So the last step, I'm going to create the ground for the little bird. So I always like to use the Antique Linen first. I just create a little shadow under the bird. And then I'm adding a little bit of darker color with the Walnut Stain. And then I'm just going to blend it out a little bit more. Alright, so that is that piece. Next I'm going to take this embossing folder from We Are Memory Keepers, and I love these new embossing folders. They are just the coolest things and they emboss really well. So to run this through my Cuttlebug, I have my A plate, and then I'm going to use the rubber cutting mat. You can see I tried it with a different way because I couldn't remember how I did it before, and that way did not work. So I have my A plate, the rubber embossing mat, then my embossing folder, and then a B plate. And this worked really well and it fit through my Cuttlebug and embossed the cardstock. So I'll take that out and then you can see what that looks like. And these embossing folders are a little bit different because they both emboss and deboss on the same piece of paper, so you get really awesome texture. So next I'm going to take another piece of craft cardstock. You can use any color because it's going to be covered. And I'm inking both the edges with my Versamark ink. And this piece of cardstock is a little bit bigger than the watercolor piece I just colored, because it's going to go behind it and I want it to peek over both edges. You'll kind of see what I mean. And then I'm applying some Gold Zing embossing powder. So it's kind of like creating my own gold metallic cardstock. So you can see I heat embossed that. Next I'm going to put some adhesive on the back of my watercolor piece, and then adhere that right over the top of that gold embossing powder piece. And the middle didn't really matter what it looked like because it's going to be covered anyway with that gold embossing powder. So I'll go ahead and attach my embossed piece to a white A2 size card base. And then to the watercolor, I'm going to add some 3D foam squares. I'm using the large ones from Best Creation. And I put plenty on there just so that it wouldn't warp on my card. So I can go ahead and remove all of the backings from those. And then I'm going to place that right onto my card base. I'm going to do it right in the center. And before I put that down, I should have put my string through, so I kind of cut that part out. I was struggling to get it through. But I'm using the May Arts Natural Twine, and I'm going to tie a bow on the right-hand side of that piece. I thought it needed a little extra something on there, and I didn't really want to add sequins or anything sparkly because I already have that gold border on the edges. So I'm just tying that into a bow, and then I can trim off the extra on each end. Sorry, it got cut off a little bit down there. Didn't realize that when I was recording. And then that is my finished card for today. So this is a really simple card. You could do this with many different images and sentiments. I really hope you enjoyed it. Make sure you subscribe to my channel so you don't miss any of my videos. And I will see you back here next time. Bye!